Hey everyone, this video is going to be going over some problems on the Khan Academy website that refers to the distance between 2 points assignment. So let's get started. Here I have the first problem, which is asking me what is the distance between -6, 8 and -3, 9. So I did want to take a moment to actually go over the hints that they do give you. There's usually like a hint button down here, and you can look at the hints that they have. So it has you start with, visualizing the 2 points on a coordinate plane, which this is one strategy of going about it, is using the Pythagorean Theorem. And then from there, plotting the points. If you don't have graph paper at home, I would highly recommend you go on Desmos. It's desmos.com, and you can actually, plot your points on here. So in this case, -6, 8 and -3, 9. And just by using this, you can go ahead and kind of create your triangle from here. Kind of use the Pythagorean Theorem from there. So I just kind of wanted to let you know that resource if it's hard for you to visualize. Let's go ahead and try another one. So for this one, they give you a graph, and it's asking you what is the distance between the following points. When you're given a graph, it's usually easier to use the Pythagorean Theorem method for this. And this is how the method works. You're going to first connect your points. Okay, and from that, you're going to create a right triangle. So your right triangle, you could have done this way, or you could create a right triangle this way. Okay, it's almost like using your rise and your run. So how much to the right and how much up. Right triangle. Make sure you're not making any sort of like weird triangle that looks like that. Okay, it has to be a right triangle. So from here, you can go ahead and find your legs. So your legs here would be 3. It'll go 1, 2, 3. And the other one is going to be, if you could follow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, go back to the Pythagorean Theorem. Or legs squared plus legs squared equals hypotenuse squared. So 3 squared plus 7 squared equals c squared. 9 plus 49 equals c squared. And you have 58 equals c squared. Now, 58 is not your final answer. You need to get the c by itself. The squared, we don't want that there. In order to get rid of an exponent of 2, you would take the square root, and that kind of cancels out. So now you have the c by itself equals c right here, square root of 58. And we see that answer here. Awesome. So for this example here, we have a line on a grid with no numbers. So Khan Academy does really emphasize the use of the Pythagorean Theorem, and this is a great example of that. So the distance formula would not really be effective for this problem. And just like the previous one, this is the distance. We're going to go ahead and draw like a right triangle. So again, straight down and straight to the left or the right. And now you have to find out what your legs are. What's the distance between your legs? So again, another form of writing out the Pythagorean theorem, x squared plus x squared equals hypotenuse squared. Just another way, that's a 2. So leg 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 squared plus, if we count another one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 squared equals hypotenuse squared. So 36 plus 100. Alright, so we're here at our hypotenuse squared, our distance, and this is not our final answer. We have to take the square root so we can get that variable by itself. So now we have h equals the square root of 136. Alright, so for this one, we have no coordinate plane, we don't have a grid, in other words, and it's just the points. So what is the distance between -5 and -5 and -9, -2? So again, if you really like the Pythagorean theorem and that makes sense for you, then I would go on Desmos and plot your points and kind of do it that way, or grab a piece of graph paper if you have some. If not, then this is going to be another method that you could use to find the distance between 2 points, and this will work on any of the other con problems except the one that doesn't have any coordinates labeled, which is the previous one that we just did. So let's use what is called the distance formula. So the distance formula is square root, distance equals square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So it's all of this here. So what this actually is these are coordinates. Your x1, y1 would be one of the coordinates, your x2, y2 would be the other. And it doesn't matter which one you label as what, but for this purpose, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to label this one my x1, y1, and this one my x2, y2. x2, y2. Alright, so I'm going to begin by plugging in my values into my distance formula. We have my x2, which is x2 -9. So I'm going to put that in a parentheses. And just so I can remember that my negative is there, minus my x1, which is -5. And again, I'm putting it in parentheses just so I don't forget my negative. And all of that is going to be squared. Plus y2, which is -2. Minus my y1, which is -5. And I know you see a lot of parentheses. I just like putting parentheses because often students forget the negatives, and that throws off the answer. -9 minus -5, that is 4, -4. Plus, we have -2 minus -5, which is just 3. And then we just continue. -4 squared is 16, plus 9, square root of 25. If you remember, the square root of 25 is, you could simplify this. This is a perfect square, which would be 5. So if we select 5, looks good. So this one is, what is the distance between the following points? So again, going back to the two methods that we've discussed, the Pythagorean Theorem or the distance formula, these will both get you the same answer. So really it depends on what you feel like is easier. Is it easier for you to plug it into your formula? Is it easier for you to draw out a triangle? So just because I have a grid here, I'm going to go ahead and just use the Pythagorean Theorem. I'm going to connect my points, that's my distance, and I'm creating a right triangle. And again, length, your leg squared times your leg squared is your hypotenuse squared. So just use a squared, b squared equals c squared. It doesn't matter which is your a or your b. We're going to count 6, and this is 6 as well. 6 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. 36 plus 36 equals c squared. 72 equals c squared. And you need to get the c by itself. You want to get rid of the exponent of 2. So you take the square root. C equals square root of 72. And let's see if that's there. And let's see if that's right. Awesome. Okay, so hopefully with these problems, it gives you a little bit more of an understanding of how to solve these problems.